everyone, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Molly, and today I'm going to be starting a brand new reaction series. I'm going to be watching, reviewing, and reacting to Season 2, Episode 1 of Mindhunter from Netflix. Alright, so this is actually one of a few new shows that I'm starting right now in the same week, some of them on the same day. I've seen the first season. I really thoroughly enjoyed it and have been waiting in anticipation for Season 2 to come out. If anybody hasn't seen the first season, I highly recommend you go and watch it. It's very well written, directed, acted, you know, everything about it. And of course, I'm someone that just finds this sort of story fascinating. I've read some of the books by John Douglas, whose book Mindhunter is what this is sort of loosely based on. He's a consultant, I believe, on the series as well. Obviously, there's a lot of fictionalized aspects, but a lot of it is also taken from real life. So I'm looking forward to seeing Season 2 and seeing everything that happens with that. So just to quickly mention, besides this, I'm also right now starting new reaction series to Stranger Things, to Dark, and to The Boys. So The Boys on Amazon, and then 3 shows on Netflix. If you are interested, on my Patreon, early access to episodes of all of these shows is available. And then for a higher tier, you also are able to access full-length reactions to Mindhunter, Dark, and Stranger Things. So if you're interested in any of that, I'll leave a link in the description below. If not, no big deal, but putting it out there as an option, and I really do appreciate all of the support, and a huge thank you to everyone who is supporting me on Patreon right now and continues to, you know, help me be able to do this. But alright, I'm excited to check this out, so let's get into Season 2 of Mindhunter right now. Episode 1, here we go. This is another show where I love the way they use music, so I'm excited. Oh! Okay. We're starting out with some BTK stuff. Like they did this last season too, at a lot of the beginnings or endings of episodes. And I assume they're kind of like building up to eventually having them come into actual conflict with him, maybe in a later season. I assume not this one. What to do there daily and keep you till death's side. Inflatable doll. That's his wife. Lover ungrateful. I blew up your body. Don't be scared. This is just. I was just goofing around. Oh man, I mean they built that up, tension up there. I wasn't thinking that that was going to be his wife, and he's just in there, you know, reminiscing, remembering, and fantasizing.
Specifically with people who commit compulsive crimes. What is that exactly?
They're like, all right.
Son of Sam, Boston Strangler, like that. How do you study that? We interview them in prison. They talk to them. Some of them can't stop talking. Who do you talk to? Give us one example. Yeah, what do they say? You know, it's not really barbecue conversation. Do they tell you why they do it? Oddly, some of them love to talk about it. One guy, the co-ed killer, sat right across the table from us, 2 feet away, and described in detail how he murdered 6 culprits. That's nuts. He killed them and carved them up like a Christmas turkey. Are they also cold-blooded?
She's like, what are you doing?
When we interviewed Richard Speck.
You sat in the same room with Richard Speck?
You never told me that. You know, I didn't sleep for a month after that happened. Did you, Harry?
I don't like to hear about things like that, but I make Rod turn off the news or I'd never sleep.
Oh, honey, Harriet said Rod takes his boat out on 3-day weekends. I told her he'd love to fish.
Come anytime. So what do you think? 7,
They're like,
8,
anyway,
9,
more interesting.
Lunch, everybody!
Trust me, you don't want to know. Sure we do.
He's talking about this because I want you to understand.
It's not really his fault. I mean, it's more fascinating than what they typically encounter in their jobs, I'm sure. So, oh, uh-oh. Since he had his freak out.
Accept. Where the fuck have you been?
He's flying out to get him.
Visiting camper. What the fuck? Why'd you go?
I don't know, Bill. Sorry. There wasn't anyone else I could
It wasn't a great time for me to leave work. And you don't walk out on OPR. You get that, right? I'm assuming you want to keep doing this, Holden, that it's not too stressful for you?
Yes.
Then here's what's going to happen.
I feel like you're
gonna
not
take the
approaching
weekend,
this properly,
get your
Bill.
shit together, and on Monday morning you're going to present yourself as able, responsible, and professional. And no one need ever know about this episode. But from now on, it's my rules.
Lack of understanding
If I tell
about
you to
mental
shut your
health
mouth,
going on
shut
here.
your mouth.
Although, yes, he should shut his mouth
Nod your head
sometimes.
if you understand.
I'll talk to Shepard on
Shepard's retiring. His replacement is Assistant Director Ted Gunn. He asked for you. Don't worry, I covered.
I appreciate that.
We'll meet him first thing Monday morning.
What's he like?
Very DC. Gonna be honest like stink on shit. But if we walk the straight and narrow, it might be okay.
I feel we should clear the air.
Uh-oh.
Which air would you like to clear?
I discussed this with Bill, but I want you both to know too. With OPR, I took full responsibility for suggesting the transcripts be altered. That will not hang over any of you.
I was completely honest as well.
Greg? What did you tell them?
I told him the truth. I explained that you asked me to alter the transcript.
The OPR investigation escalated because someone sent them the spec tape. I was the only person who didn't care who heard what was on that tape, so it could have been me, but I know I didn't do it. Shepard made the decision to destroy the tape, so he had the most to lose. Bill, you were adamant about getting rid of it, so it wasn't you. And Wendy, I was frankly shocked to hear Bill accuse
We
you.
were all in a bit of shock, Holden.
Wendy had no reason to send the tape. She would never jeopardize our hard work. You sent the spec tape to OPR.
I mean, yeah. It's pretty clear.
I felt like we were getting in deeper and
Jesus Christ.
we needed to be honest.
You needed to be honest.
Why didn't you come to us, Greg?
I did, but you all chose a cover-up. If we spin lies, alter records, that's a slippery slope.
Fair enough.
Is it fair enough that you put all of us at risk just to soothe your delicate conscience?
I sent the tape anonymously. I was prepared to go down with evidence.
So we could all be on unemployment together.
Greg, I think we need to trust moving forward that decisions affecting the entire unit will not be made without discussion.
I don't think Benedict Arnold gets a vote.
Whoop.
Sorry. Hope I'm not interrupting.
No, we were just discussing. I was in the hospital.
Are you alright?
Yes. I am now. I had a panic attack. Actually, they said I had several. I don't remember. I was heavily sedated. The doctor told me I might have panic disorder.
Has this ever happened before?
No, never.
Well, then I need you to tell me what happened physically, and I want you to be precise.
It felt like I was having a heart attack. I couldn't breathe.
Did you lose consciousness?
No.
Vision?
Tunneled.
Have you had any sense?
The opposite. I feel energized. I want to get back to work, and we're finally getting the support we need. At the same time, I don't want anything.
Specifically, what precipitated the episode?
I went to see Kemper.
By yourself? Panic attacks are often brought on by feelings of acute vulnerability.
Well, I
Psychopaths
mean-
are extremely manipulative, and he knows you, so he will know exactly your areas of sensitivity.
And he was physically looming over you, and
Not exactly. He hugged me.
Where in sympathize with the psychopaths, we actually negate the self. We deny our own beliefs about decency and humanity, and that can be very dangerous.
I can handle it.
Are you sure?
That's
because
interesting.
The last place that you would want for this to happen is during an interview, especially...
Which is why I wanted to see if you had any insight.
What are you doing?
I just wanted to say...
Oh no.
I've only had the...
He's like
but in that time,
so terrible
you
at
went out on a
social
limb and
situations.
championed bold, new ideas. With your support, we've lifted the mask from evil and are peering into the very mind of the criminal. Our little unit thanks to you. Sir, sneaking out of your own party. I just feel like...
Oh, I can't wait to hear how you feel.
You arrogant, self-serving twit. I put in 27 years, went from brick agent to corner office, and I'm leaving everything I worked for with the giant stain of you all over it.
Sir.
Do you honestly believe I'm retiring? You vain, glorious little shit. I'm being forced out because somebody has to take the fall for your insubordination, reckless lack of judgment, and titanic vanity.
I took complete
You
responsibility
really
for...
are incredible. Is all of that fresh-scrubbed earnestness just an act, or are you truly oblivious to the wreckage you leave in your wake?
It's the
I
latter.
survived the war, the streets of Baltimore and Hoover.
And I'm finally being finished off by you? What?
Uh-oh.
Jesus, you really are a pussy.
Sir, thought you'd forgotten your date.
Not after all these years.
Still wonderful.
Oh, God. Holden. Oh, no. Well, that was episode 1 of season 2. Holden. Oh, God. Oh, Holden. He really doesn't know how to act in social situations. He's it's very interesting, you know. You see this kind of theme very often in shows like this or books or anything, where they people who are kind of the most capable of getting into the heads of killers, of criminals, of people who think differently from the norm, and identifying their thought patterns and being able to kind of talk to them and prod them into saying what they want them to say, often have a lot of difficulty in average social situations or understanding social cues in everyday life. So to me, or to most people in that room, it was insane that Holden even thought about getting up and making a toast in that circumstance. And he was even kind of picking up on it. He was like, he doesn't look happy. Something's wrong. He doesn't look happy. But he couldn't put the pieces together. And you know, you had Bill saying kind of throughout the episode, you know, if he's retiring, he's supposedly retiring, you know, people had an understanding that Holden doesn't seem to have. And that's what Shepard was saying at the end. I can't tell if you're just full of shit or if you are like that unaware of what you do and the wreckage you leave. And it's definitely the latter. He's just not fully socially aware. He's so caught up in his actual areas of concern and focus. So, but it's interesting. But, I mean, I think that's part of the thing that is a concern about him. Part of the reason that he causes such a path of destruction at times is because he gets so laser focused on what he is doing in the moment, or whether what he's doing seems to be working for his overall goal, and he doesn't necessarily see the consequences to people around him, or the perhaps long-term consequences of what he's doing, or... And so that's maybe part of the reason that he's in a situation where he'd have this relationship with Kemper and find himself out there in the hospital after Kemper's suicide attempt and being trapped in a room alone with him and getting hugged but also loomed over in a kind of threatening manner and ending up having a panic attack and totally breaking down. So it's definitely going to be, I think, for the best that he has Bill and Wendy kind of tasked with more looking out for him, and doctors have kind of clued him in on, you maybe gotta try to take a step back. But at the same time, it is sort of what leads them to be successful, right? And I've always, even since last season, I've kind of went back and forth in debating the idea about Holden's techniques, because he does obviously go beyond the boundaries of the questionnaire that Wendy came up with. But I mean, he seems to get success in ways that that questionnaire certainly isn't going to get success, not just in getting them to open up, but in the practical cases where they were trying to actually figure out who was responsible for murders. So, I mean, you have to, I guess, figure out some sort of way that you can balance that kind of walk between the lines, where you don't go maybe too far the way that he does, where he's maybe identifying too much, getting too close, leaving wreckage in his wake, but also that you don't have to stick to some like rigid questionnaire that's going to be useless. So I'm curious to see if this season, if part of what they're going to do is try to figure it out and create that balancing act, since they've got this new guy in place who is clearly a politician in his own way, but does say that he wants to kind of harness Holden's instinct and abilities, but not let it all come crashing down on their heads. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And otherwise, you know, I'm really enjoying the use of music and the direction, as I always have. Very well done. The beginning certainly gripped me. They're getting more into BTK this season, I can see. But again, for the most part, as with most shows in their first episode of a season, it's just kind of picking back up where it left off and laying some of the groundwork. But I did enjoy it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what else the season has in store. If we're gonna go and have a visit with Charles Manson, and if we're gonna have more practical case study situations. But all right, everybody, I think I'm gonna wrap this video up here. So if you have questions, comments for me, please do leave them down in the discussion section below. Otherwise, I'll just say thank you very much for joining me, and hopefully I will see you next time for episode 2. Bye.